Hello. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, bee stinger. We'll give it a few minutes to see if anybody else wants to come over, and then we'll decide what we're going to talk about. It's it's nary now, but it was originally Mary quite contrary, and then I changed it to nary quite contrary because there was so many Marys on here, and they were getting all us Marys mixed up. Yep, I did that fast. That was good for a first timer, wasn't it, Paula? I'm gonna have to give myself a round of applause on that one because I did get that shit up fast. Whew, I know one thing, it's hot. I'm in the South and it is hot. Any of the y'all that's in here, you or Bee Stinger, Paula, or y'all, either one of y'all in the South, which I think Bee Stinger, you're in Australia, aren't you? Yeah, yeah, I do go to Ivory Papers. Whereabouts in the South are you, Hurricane Holly? Hey, Audra. Ah, yeah, I thought you were in Australia. Oh, really, Hurricane Holly? You're in North Carolina? I'm in North Carolina too. What what city are you near? The southern part of the United States, bee stinger. Um, like North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Georgia, Florida. Um, some consider Maryland, some do not. Somebody else help me out with the other southern states. I can't remember them all right now. There's like 13, I think, 12 or 13 southern states. Alabama, I forgot Alabama. All near Wilmington. I've been to Wilmington before and been to the battleship. Um, do you one of y'all want to come up, or two of y'all, or three of y'all? Any of y'all want to come up? Thank you, Paula. I heard it myself when I just now said that. Sometimes it's thicker than others, but I heard my twang right before you said that. I heard it myself. I'm sure Holly's got a twang if she's in North Carolina too. You have a twang too, Holly? Thank you, Bee Stinger. Ah, Mount Airy. Yeah, that's where the town of that's the town that the TV series Andy Griffith was based around, was Mount Airy. Oh my gosh, it can't be that bad to listen to your own voice. I'd say you probably do have a twang if you're in North Carolina. Were you born in the South and raised in the South, Holly? You never knew that, Audra, about Andy Griffith? Yes, it is. It is very different. Y'all's accent is very different than ours in the United States, especially Southerners. We have the most thickest accents of anybody, I believe, except for the Northerners. Some of the Northerners have a pretty thick accent too. Were you born in the and raised in the South, Holly? Ah, okay. Do you know? Are you familiar with Marsha White Sharkey that's on here, Holly? Aha, learnt. Let's see. Any one of y'all want to come up? So I'm not just talking to myself. Oh gosh, being shy, Holly. Oh, don't worry about that, Audra. Where is it that you live, Audra? Yeah, that's what I say. Come on, someone call in. Enlightened was supposed to be coming over here, but he hadn't made it yet. Maybe he couldn't find me because he was asking how to get to my channel, and we told him the link was in the chat, but I don't know if he caught that or not. Ah, 20 plus takes. She's a California girl. Yeah, well, that's one of the best ways probably to get over it is to start coming up on panels. Get over being shy. Let's see. We'll wait for maybe a few more people to get in here and see if we can get somebody to come up, and we'll pick a subject, or we'll pick 5, 10, 20 subjects, whatever. So she's a Jersey girl. Paula's a Jersey girl. Born and raised in Jersey, Paula? That's interesting. Wonder how you caught a Southern accent being in California. That's interesting. So, do you flip tables like the Jersey housewives, Paula? Are you down with the table flip? Or should I say the table flip? Oops. Oh, little chime in there. A little ring-a-dang-dang. Let's see. Mm. Yes, Southerners have a very thick twang, and it depends on what kind of accent you have, bee stinger. Depending on what state you're in the South, it varies a little bit. And if you've never had Southern food, bee stinger, you would love it. Southern food is the best. The Midwest, they don't really tend to have accents. Help answer me that in the chat, Paula and Audra. You think people in the Midwest have an accent or no accent at all? Nope, nobody's called in yet. Nobody said they wanted to call in yet. Hey, Francesca. Oh, Southern food is so good. Southern food is so good. We deep fry everything in the South. Everything's slathered down with a lot of butter, gravy. Everything's covered in gravy. Everything's deep fried in the South. Michiganers, people in Michigan have an accent, yes. I haven't really noticed one on people from Illinois and Wisconsin, but yes, I've noticed the Michigan one. It sounds almost northern. Yep, fried chicken, uh, deep fried shrimp. I mean, we're so crazy in the South. If you haven't heard of this, yep, I was getting ready to say that, bee stinger, that they'll deep fry candy bar, they'll deep fry ice cream, they'll deep fry any damn thing in the South, anything. Southern food is really good, but it is really, really, really bad for your health. Yep, sweet tea. We also drink a lot of lemonade in the South as well. But yeah, sweet tea is a thing or a thing in the South. Never tried what, Stinger? Yep, deep fried pickles, deep fried mushrooms. Um, God, you name it, they deep fried in the South. That's for sure, for sure. Oh, chicken fried steak is so good. Chicken fried steak is so, so good. Chicken fried steak with sawmill gravy. Sweet tea is basically just iced tea that's sweetened, Stinger. But in the South, instead of they call it sweet tea. People are really friendly in the South too. People that have never been to the South don't understand how friendly people are in the South. We're very, very friendly and hospitable, and very, very we have a lot of manners, and we're very, respectful and have a lot of manners in the South. It's a way of life. In the South, our culture is everything of our in our culture is about being respectful, having manners, being polite and hospitable and all that stuff, and being very friendly. That's all the Southern way. Um, all honesty, Paula, I don't cook that much. But if I was gonna deep fry something, I do both I would do both really. I've done both in a deep fryer or a skillet. Like, they have, um I don't know what states around the United States, the ones that are in the United States, if you have a Cracker Barrel, that Cracker Barrel restaurant, that's a really good example of Southern food. Cracker Barrel is very, very Southern delicious food. Yeah, I wanna visit, Louisiana sometime. I haven't been there. Say that it's hot as hell in the summertime in Louisiana, though. It's very hot in North Carolina too, but they say it's worse in Louisiana, or as they would say, the Southerners say, Louisiana. Yeah, people in the South are very, very friendly, bee stinger. It's a big thing in the South. If you're not friendly in the South, you're considered an asshole. I mean, it's very common to everything in the South. Bee stinger is honey, sugar, darling, baby. Everywhere you go, you walk in a store. What you need there, sweetie pie? What you need there, sugar? I call people sugar plum myself. That's right. We're some friendly people, aren't we, Holly? When I grew up, I was taught that in my household that you were never supposed to let anybody enter your home without offering them something to eat and something to drink. Yeah, and you have the Southern gentlemen here too. Now, not all of them are Southern gentlemen for damn sure, but there are some Southern gentlemen. Yeah, okay. Paula's gonna be sugar plum. Yeah, everything in the South is sweetie, sugar, honey, darling, baby. And I mean, you don't even have to know them. If you walk in a store, somebody be like, "What you need there, sugar plum? What you need there, baby? What can I do for you?" That's right. That's right, Francesca. Southern charm. Yep, y'all. Y'all. The accents are so funny and they vary so much in the South. Like, uh, people in this particular, you can go just like 10 minutes over to another town. You can just go 10 minutes over to another town and the whole accent will be completely different. Like, for instance, right here where I live, I don't say it, but people like say stuff like instead of the name Nathan, they'll say Nathan, and instead of heathen, they'll say heathen. And everywhere, just a few minutes over where my dad lives, everything is instead of white, bright, light, everything's white, bright, light. Instead of chair, they'll say cheer. Won't you bring me that cheer over here? They do they say y'all a lot in true crime, Stinger? Do we say Craig funny? Well, see, that's the thing within the South, bless your heart, it can be used as a sincere, nice thing like, "Oh, honey, bless your heart." Or it can be used as kind of a smart ass thing like, "Bless your heart," like, "Bless his heart." Ooh, he boy, that's a dumb one right there. Bless his heart. Yeah, it is. Especially here where I live. Like I said, you can just go from right towns right beside each other, and the accent will be a lot different, the way they pronounce words and everything, just right from town to town right beside each other. What you talking about, Stinger? Bless your heart? We also say God bless a lot, like, "God bless." Like, if you can't believe something or something like that, or you're surprised by something, it's like, "God bless," or "bless." And a lot of people in the South call the Bible the good book. I've had people that came from the North say that it's confusing to them because people in the South say "pin," like P-I-N, like a writing pen, but we pronounce it like P-I-N, where they think it's confusing because Northerners come to the South and they say that you're supposed to pronounce pen. Ah, Southerners put, an E, like a I-E on everything. Like Tom, like if there's a famous guy that was a murderer actually in the South, Bee Stinger, you could look up about him. It's a very famous case. It's actually got documentaries about him. You might be able to find the documentary possibly on YouTube. His name was Tom Dooley, but actually I think his real name was Tom Dula, but like I said, Southerners in certain parts of the southern region tend to put an IE on things that have a Y, like instead or an A, turn an A into a IE. Like for instance, Dula would turn into Dooley. Like his actual name, I think is Tom Dula, but he's pronounced Tom Dooley in the South. Yeah, he was hung. Stinger. Tom Dooley was actually, hung in my hometown. He was a very famous murder case where he killed this girl named Laurie Foster. Okay, let's see. Um, he murdered this girl. His name is Tom Dooley. He's a legend here. Um, he murdered this girl. He was from the Appalachian Mountains. I can't remember what actual town, but he was. I guess he was in the military. He was on, I guess, the Confederate side, and he was a man with the women, and he got, I think they said it was either syphilis or herpes, and he was messing around, I think, with 2 sisters, and, he killed the little young girl, her name was Laurie Foster. He lured her off into the woods and he murdered her, and nobody's really sure why he did it, but they think it's because he had contracted either herpes or syphilis, and he was claiming he was gonna kill whoever he thought gave it to him. Yeah, Tom Dooley. I think his actual real name was Dula, but the Southerners have called him Dooley so long, I think it turned into Dooley. Yeah, that's a real interesting story actually about Tom, Dooley. There's actually you can look it up on YouTube, I'm sure. It's a actual they made a song about him. It's called "Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley." Says, "Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're gonna die." And like I said, they hung him down in my hometown at the courthouse, the old historic courthouse in my hometown. That's where he died. They hung him straight out there. Ah, Holly, a writing pen or a sticking pen? Um, I don't know. I don't know when they stopped hanging people. I know that he wasn't all that long ago. I would say within the last 100 years, if that. They don't have a certain time, stinger. It varies from state to state. Like some people can be on any people are usually on death row, I'd say an average between 10 and 20 years on average. Because they keep getting they keep appealing and they drag it out for as long as they can. But I'd say most people are on death row about 10 to 12 years before they're murdered. Or I wouldn't say murdered. I shouldn't say that. They're the one that murdered somebody, but before, because I believe in the death penalty, but before they're put to death. You should look up where he was hung. That's my hometown. Actually, I don't live in my hometown anymore. I live in the town right beside it, but I lived there for many, many years. And you can see where he was hung and everything. See the old historic courthouse out there where he was hanged out there, hung out there. That's interesting. Were you born in California or in the West, Audra? I agree with the death penalty. I believe in the death penalty. I feel like if you're for sure guilty, I think if there's any doubt at all whatsoever that possibly you're not guilty and there's some question about it, that you should be given life without parole. But I think if it's you're for sure, it's a cut and dry case and you did it, I believe you should pay the price for it. I believe you should sit on in death row for a good long while first, though, maybe like 20 years. Then you get put to death because I feel like an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, a life for a life. I hadn't heard anything about that about the lethal injection drugs. I've heard that they're controversial to some people, like they think it's like cruel and inhumane. Oh, so you weren't born in California. Where were you born, Audra? See, I don't agree with the chair. I think the chair is cruel and inhumane or cruel and unusual punishment to be electrocuted to death. I think that's just horrible to electrocute somebody to death. I mean, I just think that's terrible. I think you should get hung or firing squad before being put in an electric chair. There's some really interesting, if y'all haven't seen them on YouTube, there's some really interesting death row documentaries. In fact, I think they've got a series about death row. I've seen several of those, and it's really interesting to watch that. I haven't. Uh, I can't remember the name of them. It might be Death Row, but there's several of those documentaries on YouTube and other places. Yeah, I think I did hear that part, Paula. Um, yeah, in some states you can ask for a firing squad as I don't in some states you can you can request a firing squad. In some states I think you have a choice between lethal injection, firing squad and even hanging. In some states you get to choose out of a few choices how you want to be executed. Um I don't know if they still do electrocutions or not. You'd have to look that up. They might still do it in some states. I'm not sure. Well, if you live in the United States, Stinger, you'd probably think it wasn't strict enough because believe me, you got people getting away with murder and walking on murder all the time. You got child molesters and rapists running rampant. So it might not seem as strict as it looks from another country because if you're here, it doesn't seem that strict when you're actually here because a lot of people get away with a lot of stuff. That's right, Holly. We've got the best of both worlds. We got some of the most beautiful mountains and some of the most beautiful beaches. You get to go one way or the other. I myself am a mountain girl. I love the mountains, the Appalachian Mountains and the Blue Ridge. If you're not familiar, any y'all that are not from North Carolina, if you want to look up about the Appalachian Mountains and the Blue Ridge Parkway, Chimney Rock, Grandfather Mountain, uh, Blowing Rock. Those are some really cool mountains. Blowing Rock is where you can go and you can throw like a handkerchief or something off of the mountain and it'll blow it right back to you and you catch it. That's why it's called Blowing Rock. Yeah, we're big believers in guns in the United States, especially in the South. Holly could you know, agree with me on that. We're big on having being owners in the South and being able to protect your own home. Yeah, it's beautiful. Those mountains are so beautiful. Where did you say you lived, or did you say where you lived, Francesca? Yeah, the mountains are absolutely beautiful. There's also a place, Fran, in that's called the Brown Mountain. That's called the Mountain Lights. That actually are kind of like a mini aurora borealis. Oh, Australia. Yeah, the Brown Mountain Lights. We've got like a mini version of the aurora borealis, if you know what that is. And in we also have a place called Mystery Hill where there's actual a place in the mountains that doesn't have gravity. Things will kind of it's called Mystery Hill and there's actually a house you can go into on Mystery Hill where things and you can look that up on the internet too where things actually will suspend in air like magic in Mystery Hill. It's not how you think, Stinger. If you're in the United States, it doesn't feel scary. You're used to it. And in certain places, like, I would say I can't really say for sure because I haven't really lived outside of the South. I've visited outside the South, but I mean, I haven't seen a whole what I would call a whole bunch of gun problems in the South. I would say most people in the South are responsible gun owners. My belief on that is it's not the gun that harms people; it's the people that have them. Yeah, the Brown Mountain. Have you ever heard of the Aurora Borealis, Fran? That's interesting, Paula. It's a very common it's a household thing in the South. I mean, it's always been a very household thing. Southerners really stand up for their gun rights, that's for sure. They believe in being able to own a weapon and protect your own home and family, and believe me, sometimes you need to. I mean, there's been many cases where if somebody didn't have a gun, they themselves would have been murdered, in their house when people invaded their homes and stuff. There's been, teenage boys and stuff that have killed intruders that came in to harm them, and if they hadn't have had a gun and known how to use it, they would have been dead themselves. See, where I live, Audra, there's a if you live on the in outside of the city limits in the country, land is pretty cheap. I mean, well, I mean, cheap compared to the rest of the United States for sure. And there's places where I am where it's very rural and country, and like you said, lots of wide open country and fields. Like behind where I live right here, there's some wood, there's a wooded area, and there's lots and lots of wood and wide open land around where I live. It's a rural-ish area. Well, most people don't carry them on the street, Stinger. I mean, if you have a carry and conceal license, you can carry them concealed, and then some, have a license where they can carry them and they're not concealed as long as it's shown, like, strapped in a holster to your belt or something. And it's like I said, it's just a way of life in the South. If Holly's been in the South for a long time, she knows what she would know what I'm talking about. It's just a way of life, and nobody's afraid of them. I mean, it's just, and like I said, most people are responsible gun owners and handlers, and I've never seen a lot of the problems. The only time I've ever seen real problems with guns is when it's actual thugs, not just regular people, like actual, criminals that are already criminals. Right, Holly, I agree with what you said about the guns. Yeah. Yeah, if you got people of the family that live in the South Pole, then you understand about how guns are viewed here. I live in North Carolina, friend. Me and Holly, Hurricane Holly that's in the chat here, we're both North Carolinians. Yeah, Stinger, where we live, it's a household thing to have a gun, and believe me, you're safer with one than without one for sure. Ah, where did you say you live again, Audra? I've asked so many people, I'm getting confused who lives where. Some people I remember, and then some people I'm confused. Was it California, Audra? You would get used to it faster than you think, Stinger. Once you saw that people, it really wasn't a thing, and you really didn't feel threatened, I don't think it'd bother you. It's not, you don't really see it all over the place, like all out in the public and stuff. Most people, they're going to keep them in their car or at home. Most people don't carry them around with them, like on their person, unless they've got a certain. You have to have licenses to carry them. There's to carry one all out in the open, and then you have to have a if you wanna have a conceal and carry license, you have to have a special license for that. In order to have your guns all out in public and carrying them with you and stuff, you have to have licenses, special licenses for that, Stinger. You have to pass, like, a criminal test and stuff too, and, like, a psychiatric test to be able to have, um like certain guns. Most anybody, if you don't have a criminal or a psychiatric record in the South, you can have pretty much anybody can own a rifle or a shotgun. But if you're going to own a small handheld pistol, you have to have special like training and licenses for that, and a background criminal and psychiatric checks. Yeah, California, South Cali. I thought that's what you said. Yep, yep. I couldn't think of what the other one was called, but open carry, yes. I grew up like I said, Holly knows what I'm talking about. I grew up around guns my whole life, so they don't scare me at all. I definitely feel safer with one. I mean, you're definitely gonna be safer if you're in your house and somebody tries to come in your house and harm you or harm you on your own property or in your own yard than if you had nothing, that's for sure. Men running people over in public places with what? Cars, friend? Oh god, that's crazy. Why the hell is everybody trying to run people down? Where did you say you lived again, friend? Or did you tell me at all? Ooh, yeah, pedophiles. Where did you say you were again? Australia. Yeah, we got bad drug problems in the United States too. It's an epidemic in the whole United States. It's really bad. Lots and lots and lots of people have died of drug overdoses. Two ex-boyfriends of mine have died from a drug overdose, and several acquaintances. And my father-in-law died of a drug overdose. Mm. Here, it's not ice. From what I understand, they had a bad ice problem in Hawaii, but here where I'm at, it's a lot of pills, prescription pills, heroin, methamphetamine, cocaine, and some crack. Yeah, yeah, I think it's terrible when somebody dies of a drug overdose. Such a useless, needless thing to happen. So preventable. I'm sorry to hear that, Paula. I'm also sorry to hear about your cousin as well, Stinger. Yeah, it's real bad where I am as well, and in the whole United States, it's really bad. I mean, they're trying to make laws where it's a whole lot harder to get prescription drugs and stuff to help, control the pill epidemic. If I started count, I'd have to actually count it up. But if I started counting up how many people I actually knew of directly that died, I'd probably guess off the top of my head about 10. That's right, friend. They've become a big problem, the pill epidemic. Yeah, I know. I'd have to count up. Like I said, I'd have to sit and actually think how many people I knew, like, directly, either by, like, just acquaintance or whatever, but I would guess right off the top of my head without counting, it'd be about 10. Yeah, fentanyl's a bad thing too, for sure, for sure. That stuff is crazy. People are, you hear about people that take those fentanyl patches and chew them, Audra? I'm sorry to hear that, Holly. It was an accident, wasn't it? Oh, yeah, I heard about that, friend. Yep. There's some other big, pharmaceutical companies that have been involved in some stuff about releasing drugs that have not been tested long enough and properly that they knew ahead of time were addictive, and they just put them out there for us anyway. Yeah, people chew those fentanyl patches. That's insane. It's deadly too, but people do it. They'll chew on those damn fentanyl patches, and they also have these. I think they're called morphine suckers. I guess so. I don't think I've ever known anybody personally that did it. I think maybe I heard a few people talking about doing it before, but I can only remember who it was. But yes, I guess that would be the idea, to get a real fast, strong, potent hit to chew it like that. Which is, from what I understand, it's really dangerous because you could kill yourself that way. But I guess people are willing to roll that dice. Drugs suck. I think they're terrible. They're a plague upon the land. A lot of the states in the United States have legalized marijuana here. It's not legalized in my state, but a lot of states are it's legal here in the United States, in a lot of states now. Yeah, that's what I was just telling Stinger, Paula. The big crop in me and Holly's state is tobacco. That's one of our big crops. Tobacco and cotton. Yep, you can smoke it out on the street like a cigarette in California, right, Audra? It's also street legal in Seattle. Think of the whole state of Washington. I think. I think it's completely legal in Colorado, or the southern way of saying it, Colorado. It's another thing we do a lot in the South, we turn O's into A's. What was it that he shot him with, Holly? Yeah, that's what I was talking about, those, like morphine lollipops or something, but I think they're dangerous too. I'm not sure if they're deadly or not, but yeah. I mean, all of it's bad. In the '80s around here, there was a bad crack epidemic. That's what I was gonna ask you, Holly, if anything had been happened about that, if you were able to held him legally responsible. Damn, that sucks. Sorry to hear that. That's terrible. Let me think of what her name. She's a famous actress. It was Jane Seymour that she was out of the country one time, and I can't remember what country she was in, Holly, but she got sick and they had a doctor come in and shoot her up with something and it almost killed her because it was supposed to go in the muscle or something and they didn't put it in the muscle and she almost died. They tried to cover it up, but that's all I remember about that happened with that. We talking about the weed, Audra? No. I think they probably do have cannabis lollipops. Yes, and I would rather the kids go around using those for sure, rather than chemical drugs. Absolutely. I think anything, even marijuana, is in excess. I think anything in excess is the bad thing. That's how I feel about it. Be it alcohol, weed, whatever it is, everything in moderation. Um, um, I don't know, friend, because we didn't ice was never really a thing like that around here. It was always crack or just meth. I don't think ice was ever a big thing. Just the powdered meth instead of the cooked up ice was more of a thing around here, just the snorting the meth powder. But ice was never really a thing around here, but the crack was really bad in the '80s. Well, actually, that's the thing. Those morphine lollipops, you can get them on the street. I haven't seen them around here, but I've heard people say that they've got a hold of them. They can get them on the street illegally. That's really bad, Holly. That's really, really bad. Hopefully you can do you have a lawyer? Yeah, crack was really bad around here, Polly. It was really bad in the 80s. I mean, it was a full-on crack epidemic here. They actually had to do like these big like DEA raids and stuff and shut down. I mean, they had to squash it because it was so bad here. We had a place called I think it was called Depot Hill and Saigon was the slang names for it. They had to they had to bring in the DEAs and do a big, raid on it, all that. Let's see. Let me catch up with the chat here. I got behind. Yeah, she's that famous actress, Jane Seymour. She's very famous. Holly, she's the one that played Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and a lot of other things. She's very famous. No, heroin's not crack. Heroin and crack are two different things. Stinger. That's all right, B Stinger. Doesn't matter if you don't know the names. Let's see. Let me back up a little bit. I don't know what I was doing. I guess I was reading too slow. I got behind in this chat somehow. Let's see. Yeah, meth, Fran. Hey, Robbie. I think Enlighten got lost out there. I think he got mugged. I think he was walking down the YouTube streets and he got hijacked. He said he was coming right on over and we hadn't seen hide nor hair of him. Yeah, those same here in the United States, Stinger. I mean, there's a lot of people on methadone and stuff, and there's a lot of what they call suburban users, like regular housewives and regular people with like uh actually blue collar career. I mean, white collar careers and stuff that have got bad drug problems. Hold on, y'all. I've gotten backed up in the chat here. I don't even know how I did that. I was all caught up, and then somehow it slipped away from me. Yeah, crack is the harder, stronger form of cocaine when it's cooked up into a rock. Cocaine is the powder, and crack is the when it's put cooked up into a rock. Bee stinger, what Paula was talking about. Where I'm at, B, you don't have to be wealthy in my neck of the woods to get cocaine. I mean, you don't have to have money to get a hold of some cocaine around here. Let me see, I'm still behind in the chat. Hold on now. Shoot. I don't even know how I got so behind. How did I do that? Hey, Dova. Glad to see you here. We were over at Jamie's chat this morning, and Jamie was getting off because she had to get her kids off to school and on the bus, and they wanted me to go live, so I went live. So this is the first one, Dova. Let me see. Still somehow I got way behind in the damn chat. I was actually doing pretty good with it, dove up until just it was like I was following the whole thing real close until like the last few minutes, and then somehow it's like I didn't pay attention and was talking for a minute or two, and then it got somehow slipped behind. Let's see. Yeah, we have those two here, Stinger. I haven't seen one, but I know we got them in the United States around. I haven't seen one personally though. God bless you too, and good night, Robbie. That's terrible, Holly. I hope you can find somebody that can rectify this for you some way, somehow. Thank you, Dova. We somehow started off talking about, we talked about several things since I came on. I don't even remember what we started with. I think we started out talking about, oh, we started talking about Southern accents and then some crime and then mountains, and somehow we wound up on drugs now. Thank you, Robbie. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we've got those drug, I guess you'd call them buses, vans, something. We have those in I've heard of them being around and locally, I think around Charlotte and stuff, but I haven't seen one, but maybe they're in the bigger cities. Organic conversation, aka homegrown. Thank you for throwing that out there, friend, about the like button. Thank you, Paula. You still out there, Dova? I would say he probably paid somebody if they corrupted a coroner report. I would say he either was friends with the coroner or it was a money thing where the coroner was paid off. That's what I would say about the situation with Holly. Hey, you want to come up, Dova? I tried to get some of these people in chat to come up, and they all shy and shit. Okay, Dova. Anybody else want to come up in the chat? Calling out to all the ladies in the chat. Does anybody else want to come up? Hey, y'all hold on just a minute. I'm gonna have to mute for just a minute. See about something. All right, y'all hold on just a minute. All right, eyes back. Yeah, I'm thinking there's some kind of obviously some corruption there. That Holly, he either he was friends with the coroner or Had some friends of some friends or some money involved or something. I mean, definitely some shady stuff going on for sure. Uh-oh, I just got an alert that says a YouTube alert that says North Carolina sheriff indicted after plot to kill a former deputy. Shade in the NC. I wouldn't be surprised about that, Holly. I mean, they could have had some drug ring, so to speak, going on there with some prescription pills being passed around. Yep, there's been a lot of. I don't know if you've been noticing, Holly, or not. If you get the alerts or not, but there's been a lot of crazy shit going on in North Carolina here lately. Like several, like murder suicides, and not too long ago, this guy killed his like 14 or 15-year-old daughter, and then walked in the police station and said he did it. I mean, it was crazy. Been several crazy incidents that's going on in North Carolina here lately. You know, if you ever watch the ID channel, there is a lot of crazy people in North and South Carolina. I think the heat and humidity mess with people's heads or something. It's cooling down a little bit. It's not in the daytime yet, Dova, but it's cooling down some at night. Like it's pretty comfortable at night. Like even if it's like 70, it feels like about 65. It's like a cool 70. And but during the day, it's been in the 90s. And around here where I live, it doesn't it doesn't get down to it doesn't get to what you would call fall weather till right straight up, usually like Halloween night or like the day after Halloween. Yeah, they got there's actually a series called Stranger Than Florida, cuz Florida's got some really crazy people. They got people crazier than in South and North Carolina and Florida. That they've got a whole like series or something called Stranger Than Florida, friend. They got people trying to eat people's faces off because they're on bath salts and shit in Florida. What they call like bath salt zombies and shit. They say what on the first 48, Paula, that a bunch of crazy people in North and South Carolina, or what? I've always thought Colorado looked really beautiful, and I've always wanted to visit Colorado. Stinger. What, Dova, still hot in, Southern California? Is that what you were referring to, Dova? A lot of that happened here actually too, Holly, in my hometown. That's actually not where I live now, but where I lived for many years. It was a whole bunch of, corruption in the sheriff's department, and they got rid of a whole bunch of people. It was a bunch of junk going on. Yeah, lots of crime. Actually, the smallish city that is my hometown, it's got one of the highest, crime rates per capita for a city of its size in the whole entire nation. I no longer live in that particular town. I live beside there, but damn, it's not the place it once was, I'll tell you that. And it's a beautiful, beautiful historic town. Hold on, y'all hold on just a minute. I'm gonna have to mute for a minute. Oh shit, y'all. My 80-year-old mother just dropped her damn pillbox out in the floor. Shit. Pills rolled out and shit. Yeah, I'd say that's true about the heat and crime, Paula. Yeah, they got a whole thing. You can look it up. It's a whole series on Florida called Stranger Than Florida because people are so damn crazy in Florida. Crazy as hell. Yeah, that's what I meant, Paula, is when it gets hot, there's more crime. Yes, that's a thing, especially in like jails and prisons where they're already contained. The heat makes tends to make people more angry, and I can totally see that. Yeah, Colorado does look so beautiful. Yeah, Columbine was in Colorado as well. Stinger. Thank you very much, B Stinger. Yeah, I'm it. From what I understand, it's very hot in Vegas. That's correct, isn't it, Dova? Yeah, I hadn't been busting any doors or windows out this week. Now, I might make some plans to do so, but I haven't thus far. I never heard anything about the McStay family murder. Y'all hold on just a minute. I gotta see about the woman and her pills. Her pill, her morning pill here for a minute. Hold on just a second. Go ahead and get it out. Don't drop it again now. We can't have the pills going all over the place. Don't drop it again. One of them dropped. Is it in there? No. All right, open up Thursday then. Yep. All right, get that one out. Mama, you got to close all those boxes. Every last one of them, they're open. You're going to have pills flying everywhere if you don't close all those boxes down. Every last one of them. Push them down. No, you got to push them down till they click. Every last one of them. All right, let me see your pill. All right, that's the right one. Go ahead and take it. Okay, let me get caught back up with the chat again. Yeah, it's very humid in North Carolina. Miserably humid. Miserably humid. Colorado is actually where Dog Chapman is from. You know, Dog the Bounty Hunter. I think I don't follow the Watts case really close, but I've followed some of it. I think a lot of people do follow it. It's a lot of people probably in this chat as well, Stinger. Did you turn the back light off? No. Well, go ahead and turn that off. What did you want to ask us, Stinger? If you've asked it yet, I hadn't caught up to that comment yet. Uh-oh, Fran says the Watts case follows her. Are you talking about that case, Paula, where they had the whole family was, like, buried under the floor in their house or something? Hell to the nah. I ain't behaving shit, Dover. Yes, she's 80 years old, Dover. I'm her, overseer, caretaker, or whatever you wanna call it. She's in pretty good condition for her age. She gets around really well, and she does everything really well for herself too. She kinda, and she's got moderate Alzheimer's, but, she doesn't, like, forget anybody or anything like that. She's, just kinda forgetful, but doesn't forget anything like people or anything like that, anything important anyway, and, she's pretty self-sufficient still for her age. She just kinda needs somebody kinda, she can't stay by herself, in other words, or at least for not long periods of time. I showed her, Dova, I brought her over here and I showed her my picture icon up here, and I said, "You see me right here?" And I said, "You see all these people over here?" I said, "I'm on here talking to all these people right here." And she said something like, "Oh, that's so neat. I didn't know you could do that," or something like that. I don't remember exactly what she said, Dova. She listen to this, Dova. These pe- people I watch, these creators on YouTube that I watch, she has trouble understanding that they're not regular TV because they're coming on the TV because I watch it on TV. She thinks they're like regular TV shows, and she can never get over how much they cuss. She's like, "Oh, I can't believe they let these people cuss like that on TV." Yeah, what they found them in the desert, Paula, because I was thinking about another family that they had been missing for a really long time. I mean, years, and then they finally found them like other under the living room floor, like the whole entire family. Hey, Lemonade. Thank you, Dova. But I'm really not that damn nice, remember? Don't let that shit fool you. 'Cause yo damn sure be surprised. Whew! God, it's hot in here. Have to crank that air up. Turn it up a little higher soon. Sitting in a damn closet. Who was it that was sitting in the damn closet? I remember hearing something about that. Lemonade, you want to come up? Okay. You want to come up, Lemonade? I can tell y'all about some North Carolina crime stories if you want to hear them. Okay, Lemonade, just let me know when you're ready. All right, Francis, you wants to hear about some North Carolina crime stories. So I'll tell y'all about some. I'll try to remember them in as much detail as I can. Well, one of them was in Moxville, North Carolina, and this one actually made it to the ID channel. I think I actually saw it on a few crime channels. I don't remember this doctor's name. He was either a doctor or a dentist. Y'all would have to look it up. It was Moxville, North Carolina. Um, and he was a real dirty son of a bitch. Anyway, what he did is, like I said, he was a doctor or a dentist. I can't remember which one, but it was in Moxville, North Carolina. Y'all could look it up. And like I said, it was on the ID channel and some other crime channels. But what he did, now you tell me if this isn't insult to injury. He had his wife, who was still a good looking woman and wasn't that old. He convinced her that she needed plastic surgery. So he had her go get all this plastic surgery. And then he got her home and he was over medicating her when she was still in pain and everything and healing. He was over medicating her with the pain medication because he himself was a doctor, if I'm not mistaken. And and I can't remember exactly now that I think about it. I can't remember if she died from an OD or from the medication or if he put her in water. I think he overdosed her on the medication, then put her in the bathtub and drowned her and made it look like she drowned. And he did all of this so he could be with his damn hoe on the side. Her name was Gypsy. That's right. There are some doozies in North Carolina and South Carolina too. That's for sure. You heard about that doctor. Lemonade heard about that doctor. I can't remember any other details about that story except for that. But that was a pretty good one. You can find that one and watch it. And another one too was I went to junior high school with this guy named Charles Roach was his name. And I was with him in a class every single day. I saw him every single day for like a year or two or years. And anyway, when I was pregnant years ago, I was hanging out with some friends with my boyfriend at the time, who's the father of my son. We were at a friend's house, and I ran into the guy, and I hadn't seen him since junior high school, and I was like about 25, and I hadn't seen him since probably about 9 years, somewhere around there. And he was something was just weird. He came over and sat down by me beside me on the sofa, and you know how we have like intuition and stuff, Well, it's like kept getting this. I got this real weird vibe from him that I could not place. Oh, that I could not place. And yeah, I thought the same thing, Lemonade. That old gypsy hoe had a hoe sounding name too, Gypsy. And sure enough, sounds like a side hoe. Anyway, he so he was sitting down, talking to me, catching up about old times and stuff, and I just kept getting this real weird vibe from him, and I just couldn't couldn't get over that weird vibe, and I kept thinking about it, and I kept thinking about it, and I kept thinking about it. I was like, man, there's something weird. I mean, I couldn't place what it was. And then after, even later, when we were leaving and going home in the car, I was telling my boyfriend, I was saying, I kept telling him over and over again, I was like, I can't place what was wrong with him or what was going on with him, but something wasn't right. And for like weeks and a couple months, I kept thinking about that, how something was just weird about that guy, Charles, and I just could not place it. I could not put my finger on it, but it was just a weird feeling I could not explain. Well, apparently I was picking up on something about him that was to come, because not long after that he went on to murder a whole he murdered 6 people and a whole entire family of 5 people. He murdered let's see, he murdered thank you, Lemonade. Uh about the country accent. He murdered in it was let me think of the name of the town and I can tell y'all. It was in the North Carolina mountains. Haywood County. I don't remember the actual name of the town, but I remember the county was Haywood County. Y'all can Google this one and look it up too, about Charles Roach. He murdered a mother, a father, a grandmother, a grandfather, and a 14-year-old girl. And he murdered this other guy before that actually happened. Um, Earlier before that, and it was, from what I understand, it was over something stupid. The first guy that he murdered before that happened with the whole family in the mountains, his name was Chad Watts, I think. I'm not sure about that, but I think that's what his name was. And it was supposedly they were all friends, and it was Charles and Chris Lippard and Chad Watts, and they had stopped and ran out of gas or something in Hidnight, North Carolina. Hidden Night. With my country, my southern slang, it's actually called Hidden Night, but around here we would say Hidnight. But anyway, which, hey, Hidnight, I'll tell y'all about that in a minute. That's a really cool place. But anyway, so they had apparently ran out of gas in Hidden Night, and apparently Charles got pissed off about that for some reason. And he had a shotgun with him, and he threatened to shoot Chad with it. And the other guy, I guess, agged him on, Chris, and said, well, if you're going to kill somebody with a shotgun, you know how to do it right. You put it under the chin. Okay, well, that idiot put it right under his chin and killed him. And then they were on the run, and they took off to the mountains, and they were in the mountains. And this makes it even worse. This family had been to the fair that night, out having family fun. Like I said, a mother, a father, a grandmother, and a grandfather, and a 14-year-old girl. They had been at the county fair. Chris and Charles break into their house to hide. They come home and surprise them. So Charles kills everybody in the damn house. Okay, they get ready to run. A neighbor catches Charles, holds him at gunpoint. Chris gets away, and he was on America's Most Wanted. And they put Charles on death row, and Chris got life, and Charles was put to death on death row. There was and like I said, you can look up about them. Their names were Charles Roach and Chris Lippard. Yeah, those damn home wrecking hoes. I swear. That's what happened in the Chris Watts case. That damn old home wrecking hoe. Damn hoes. If they stay in their own damn house, wouldn't be so many damn problems. We got lots of haunting stories around here locally too. Lots of hauntings. There was a book even made about North Carolina hauntings, and some of the most famous ones. Um, I don't know how many of y'all have ever liked to watch what they called celebrity ghost stories, but they had a celebrity ghost story on there one time with Lindsay Wagner. All of us in the 40s know who Lindsay Wagner is. Famous, the Bionic Woman from the 70s. She was another famous actress. And anyway, so I think my chat is way behind, it looks like. But anyway, Lindsay Wagner, there was a big hippie festival in a town that's a small western town here, not far from where I live, called Love Valley, which is a little town made to look like it's back from in the old west still, like it's for frozen in time from the old west, where you can actually ride horses in the town and stuff. And if you come up to just a regular old convenience store, they have hitches there where you can ride your horse straight up to the convenience store and hitch your horse outside the convenience store. It's an old western town with like a little, I don't know what you'd call those boards, like plank board, like some plank board streets and stuff. Anyway, they had that hippie festival, and Lindsay Wagner came to like this big, almost like a mini Woodstock. And I'm not sure what year that was. I think it was in the 70s. But anyway, she told that story about y'all could go to celebrity ghost stories and watch about that story. She told about that story, unless y'all, I can tell it for y'all if y'all want me to. I'll remember about it. But anyway, if y'all want to watch it, it's on Celebrity Ghost Stories. And she actually makes a mistake, and she says they're in Love Valley, South Carolina, but it's actually Love Valley, North Carolina. Yep, those damn home wrecking hoes. And like Lemonade said, those damn home wrecking hoes. Make it even worse, the damn hoe had to be named Gypsy. Sound like a damn hoe. Damn hoe. Okay, I'll tell y'all the story here in just a minute. Hurricane Holly. I'm gonna look at the chat for a second. Sorry, y'all, if I let some shit slide by while I was talking, but if I go back to catch it up, then I'm gonna really be behind. Oh, I hate home wreckers too. I cannot stand them. I think a damn bitch should keep her fucking ass at home and the hell away from somebody else's man. I can't stand that shit either. Damn bitches. Thank you, Fran. I don't know where that bitch went. She disappeared. I think she was scared. She's so fucking hated. She was scared. I think she probably took on a new identity, Stinger. Yeah, I like paranormal a lot too, Paula. Yeah, that's the way I see it too. I'm like, bitch, get your own damn man. There's enough damn men. That's the problem too. There's a damn enough single men out there that these damn hoes don't need to be messed around with somebody else's man. That shit really pisses me off too. I cannot. So y'all got me started now. I cannot stand a home wrecking hoe. Can't stand one. Can't stand a damn home wrecking hoe. Yeah, Chris is to blame too. Absolutely. I think they're both to blame because even though he might have told her Stinger that he was not with his wife and they were going to get a separation, all that shit. A woman with any sense that knows a man is still living at home with his wife better be looking into that shit instead of believing his bullshit. I'll tell you that. Thank you, Lemonade. That's a bitch, friend. A no good bitch. That's right, Dova. Motherfucker will go out the same door he came in with. For show, for show. Damn thing on my phone keeps going off. Thank you, Bee Stinger. Have a good night. Yeah, that's a possibility. Maybe he had it look like that, but like other people say, Laminate, if she had all those videos on Facebook, I mean, a woman that's got any sense would know that that man was lying to her. I've had married men try to tell me they were separated from their wife and shit. I knew better than to buy into that bullshit. That shit doesn't fool me. Thank you, Audra. That's right. I'm one of those women that I'm not gonna believe what the hell you tell me. I got a saying for that. It's called the picture behind the painting. Because you know, a painting is what you take your paint and you can paint anything on the canvas to look any way you want it to look and to be any color you want it to be. But a picture is true to form, like a snapshot that you take is true to form. And what people try to give you is the painting, but you have to look for that picture that's behind the painting, which is the true story. That's right. I don't need to go trying to take somebody else's damn man. I'm gonna find. I need. You know, if I'm gonna go looking for one, I can find my own. I think it's stupid. I mean, I'm not that damn insecure that I feel like I have to steal another woman's man to feel like a damn woman. And I feel like that's why a lot of them do it. Woohoo! B Singer said 18 in the live. Uh, thank you, Fran. Okay, I'm gonna tell somebody. I think it was Audra or one of you. I don't remember which one of you wanted to hear the paranormal story. I know I got a crazy ass man. If you hadn't been listening to Lemonade's Lives Dova, you won't know the story about my crazy ass man. We got an on again, off again relationship because he's cray cray, and I do mean cray cray. And let me say that again, cray cray. Uh, do you need to hear it one more time? Cray cray. Anyway, so when we've been together 22 years. Oh, it was Holly that wanted to hear the story. Okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all the story about the that was on Celebrity Ghost Stories with Lindsay Wagner. Well, she said they had got a house to rent, and she was with I guess some famous musicians at the time. I don't remember who they were, but anyway, they were playing this hippie fest. Um, they were playing at this hippie fest. Like I said, it's God, it can all be looked up. I can't remember what the hell it was called, but of course, I think I was, you know, I'm a child of the '70s, but I was too young to be at the hippie fest at that time. But anyway, they rented a whole house to stay in Love Valley, and she said that there were several of them in there, some bandmates, and I guess her boyfriend was one of them, and they were staying in various parts of the house. One of her friends was staying upstairs in the attic, I guess, room or apartment or whatever it was. Her and her boyfriend were staying downstairs, and some of the other musicians were staying in various rooms. And she said in the middle of the night they heard all this noise and like rumbling and moving around, like sounded like somebody moving furniture around upstairs. She was like, "What the hell?" This middle of the night. She's, "What the hell is he doing? What the hell, moving around, rumbling and shit upstairs? And middle of the damn night." But anyway, so she said she didn't think anything about it, but she got up to go to the bathroom, and there was like a cold air in the doorway of the bathroom where she couldn't get. The cold air was like thick. The air was so really thick and cold that you literally couldn't cross through it. It was like some kind of, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but anyway, like a veil of air that was like so thick you couldn't really penetrate it. And I think it was she met one of the other ones, I think. Now I might tell this not entirely accurate since it's been a while since I've seen it, but I think she met one of the other ones that was staying there with her at the bathroom too, and they were like giving her the same like face and everything, like, yeah, some weird shit's going on with the bathroom, like you can't get through the door from like some kind of weird cold air. And then finally, I guess they were able to just like shove through it, but it was like this thick cold air like draping the doorway. And then they said the next day they were sitting in the kitchen, all, hanging out in the kitchen and stuff, and that she was said something to about the band member that was upstairs or whatever, was asking him what the hell was going on, like what was up with all that? You were like moving furniture and shit around in the middle of the night. What was all that? And he said he didn't know. He said he didn't know what she was talking about. That he was asleep. That he didn't hear anything and he wasn't doing anything. And then so they were sitting in the kitchen, and there was like a, I don't know what you'd call it, if you'd call it a hutch or what it was. It was like something that I guess you'd store like food in, like flour, condiments, whatever, and maybe dishes or whatever. And she said just all of a sudden these dishes started flying off of it and busting all over the place in the kitchen. And there were several of them that all witnessed this. And then I think when they were leaving, if I'm correct, that they were talking to I guess the cab driver and telling him what had went on in the house or whatever. And he was like, "Oh yeah, that place is haunted." And told him that what had happened was there was a family that used to live there that had like, I guess, a mentally disabled daughter. And in the older days, they used to do weird shit with people, like, they try to hide away people that were, like, kinda handicapped or disabled or whatever. Anyway, so they apparently the story was they kept her in the attic all the time, especially when people would come over. Maybe not all the time, but at least when people were around. And from my understanding, what she would do is she would move all the furniture around up there and rumble it around and rumbling it around and like kind of like holler and scream and yell because she was, didn't want to be segregated from everybody when there was people over to visit. And she would be upset about being locked up in the attic when people were around. And apparently that was her that was haunting the place and showing her displeasure of being captive at times in that attic. So that's the paranormal story. I got backed up in the chat again. I think my chat is way behind, it seems. Can't tell for sure, but it seems like it is. I hope you listened to my story, Holly. That was you that wanted to hear it. Yeah, and like I said, Lindsay Wagner tells that story. You can see her actually tell the real story on Celebrity Ghost Stories, the Lindsay Wagner one. She tells that story. And there's also a house that's in, I think it's that, it might not be the same house. I don't know if it's the same house or another one, but it's in some kind of book about hauntings, North Carolina hauntings. And this girl I used to be friends with said she stayed in that house and some weird shit went on. And not, I don't know if that was the same house or a different one, but there's a another, either the same house or another house in Love Valley that was in like some kind of haunted registry or something, like haunted places of North Carolina. And she said what happened in that house, not that house that she stayed in, is like somebody was like slamming doors in the night and like jiggling doorknobs and shit. Yeah, there does seem to be something going on with the chat. It seems like the shit's way behind. Mine's way behind or something, it does seem. Yeah, I think it can too. My belief on it, Paula, is that I think the majority of ghost stories and demon stories that people tell are just embellished and made up. But I think probably about 90% or so of ghost stories and demon stories are made up or imagined. But I think that 10% is real. That's my personal belief. It is that episode is interesting. There's also one on there, Holly. I'm trying to remember the guy. Oh, it was the guy from Forrest Gump, the black guy, Bubba Gump. Bubba Gump. And I don't remember his real name. I think it's McKelty or something like that. I can't remember his real name. But anyway, it's the black guy from Forrest Gump, Bubba Gump. He tells his ghost story on Celebrity Ghost Stories. You should look that one up too, Holly, because that one's really, really interesting. Bubba Gump's whatever his real name is, it's like McKelty something or something like that. I can't remember his name. You could look it up, whatever the guy Bubba Gump's real name is. Anyway, his story is very, very, very interesting. Joan Rivers also has a good haunting story on Celebrity Ghost Stories about her haunted I guess you'd call it a townhouse or whatever she had. Ah, I didn't know about the Wilmington one. Isn't there a legend about a woman that walks on the beach or something in Wilmington? Is that one of the ones I'm thinking about, Holly? It's like an apparition of a girl that's seen sometimes walking on the beach or something. I can't remember how she supposedly passed. I think my personal belief also, Paula and Holly, about energy is I believe you can actually leave energy imprints on places of from living people, like houses that you've moved into and stuff carry their own energy from not people that have like lived there and died, but actual living people that have lived there and moved out. It's my belief that human energy can be imprinted even if you're alive. For show. Okay, what do y'all want to talk about next? Y'all can give me another topic if you want to. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I've ever felt that or not. I'd have to think if I've ever felt dysfunction. I felt energy before, for sure. Like there's a place Holly may or may not be familiar with it being that she's in North Carolina too, but there's a place called Old Salem in North Carolina, which is not too awful far from where I am. And it's an old, like I guess you'd call it like colonial place. And I felt a lot of energy in there in those old places where like where with the old furniture and the old settlers of Old Salem. I could feel their energy in there, definitely. Okay, you do your hair, girl. You get your head did. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, Holly. I think I remember that. It was something about an apparition that's seen at times when it's foggy on the Wilmington beach, I think. And there was also, wasn't it Wilmington, where the pirates, Bluebeard and Blackbeard, they rode the seas on Wilmington, the shores of Wilmington? Holly, am I not correct about that? Blackbeard and Bluebeard, and that one of them's pirate ship went down out there, and I think it's still in the water, isn't it? Okay, let me see, Francisca. Let me see if can think of some more NC crimes. At one time, I knew a lot of them. I don't know if I can pull them all out of my head right now, though. But I'll see. I'll get back to that in a minute, Fran, and see if I can think of any more. Not the recent hurricanes. Um, my hometown was affected back in, I think it was 89 by Hugo. Now we're so far back inland that we're usually not affected very much at all. We might get some wind and some rain, but it's usually not very bad at all. But now in 1989, when Hurricane Hugo hit, hit just right where it came back a good long ways. Because I live an hour back from north from Charlotte, and it was, yeah, we got it pretty good in Hurricane Hugo. It was a pretty significant amount of damage. Power was out for 2 weeks for some, longer for others. Down trees, roofs caved in, businesses destroyed. Yes, there was. Yeah, there was a fair amount of damage from Hurricane Hugo. Okay, Paula, we'll see you when you get back. Yeah, I really like Old Salem. I like Old Salem a lot. I love it there. I love old historic places with history. History. I love history and historic places. Love it. She getting her hair did, Audra. Yeah, I knew one of them's ship was supposedly still down in the water out there off the coast. Yeah, that friend, that ship is still out there. Blackbeard's ship, and Bluebeard used to ride those seas too. No, I hadn't heard about that. Holly, I hadn't heard about that Ohio one. I don't think. Woohoo! Enlightened Cafe in the hizzy, in the hizzy. He found us. Enlightened found us, y'all. Rodan trial. I hadn't heard anything about that at all. Are you familiar with Brian St. John, friend? Thanks, Enlightened. I must say it is kind of weird talking to yourself, even though you're talking to people in chat. It is a little weird talking straight to yourself. Let's see. Yep, they absolutely are, Francesca. They're real people. Bluebeard and Blackbeard were real pirates that sailed on the North Carolina seas, girl. Let's see. I'm still trying to think for some more North Carolina crime cases. Let's see. I told you a couple of them. Let me see if I think of some more. Okay, I can. This is a crime case. It's not murder though. I can tell you all about that. It wasn't murder though, but it was crime. Okay, this is very short. There was a dentist in Mooresville, North Carolina, and now listen what old dude was doing. Old dude was taking his semen and putting it in a syringe, and he was doing dental work on the women in his office, he was shooting semen in these women's mouths with a syringe. Now, what the hell wrong with him? Hmm. Hey, Enlighten's throwing out some offers for Blackbeard pettings. He said meet him on the side, over by the fence, and around the corner. Are you asking if I'm a pirate friend? Paula's back in his house. Yes, I know. Damn. I mean, he got in trouble for that. I don't remember. Y'all could Google about that too. That happened in Mooresville, North Carolina. I can't remember that dude's name or how much time he got for that. But I mean, he got caught. Somebody asked me one time, said, "How did?" This is what somebody asked me one time. Uh, Somebody said, "Well, how did they know that he was shooting his semen in their mouth?" I said, "Well, I imagine most women know what semen tastes like. Duh." Brian would be the one to ask about Ohio, Audra. He lives in Dayton. That's why I asked you, did you know who he was? He knows all about what goes down in Dayton. And I think somebody asked me, or enlightened, I don't know who she was asking about being a pirate, but if you're asking me if I'm a pirate, no, I'm not a pirate. I'm the damsel in distress. Nah, I think it wasn't huge. I don't know what size the syringe was, but that's just some weird shit to be doing. That's all I can say. I mean, I really don't know how he thought he was gonna get away with that shit. I mean, what was he saying? Hey, this is some gum numb. Is this gonna numb your mouth? What the fuck was he telling him it was? Is what I want to know. Hey, hold on a minute. I got to numb your gums up, girl. I don't know what the hell he was telling them. It was. I would imagine some sort of numbing agent. Yeah, I'm slow at typing too, Audra. Um, Brian can pretty much tell you about any damn crime that's went down in Ohio, and if he doesn't know about it and you want him to find out about it, he will, Audra. Yeah, what's up with that damn shit? I told some guy friends about the thing about the damn semen syringes, and even dudes were like, "What the hell? What the hell is that about?" Thank you, Fran. I'm glad I'm making you laugh. I don't know if he charged extra, but I'll tell you what, he'd have been wearing an ass whipping if he did that shit to me in his office. Not only would I have called the cops, there'd have been some shit smashed up in there. And I'm serious when I say that. Ask Godova, she knows. That motherfucker'd have a wrecked up dental office is what the hell he'd have. His shit'd be tore up from the floor up. Get kicked in the balls and every damn thing else. Let's see. Anybody familiar? Another very famous crime that happened in North Carolina was, I'm sure a lot of you, if you're into true crime, you've probably heard about this. I think I call it the Stairway Murders. Any of y'all know about that? I'm sure a lot of y'all do. That was that dude. He just got out of prison actually. The one that happened in Raleigh with that author who murdered 2 women with shoving them with the whole shoving them down the damn stairs and tried to, shove a woman down the stairs, killed 2 different women by shoving them down the steps, and claimed some bullshit about, whoop, she was drunk, she fell down the steps. Oh, how'd she get those marks on her head? Oh, she was sitting outside and a towel attacked her in the head. Yeah, right, motherfucker. I'm sure it went down that way. Yeah, the Peterson case. I don't remember that dude's first name. Actually, I can't make gravy worth a shit enlightened. Now, I'm Southern as fuck, but I cannot make gravy. I don't know what it is. Some Southerners can make gravy like hell, where it's all gravy, baby, for real. Not me. I am gravily challenged. Some people in the South, we can't fucking make gravy, and then others of us can make a hell of a gravy. Can't tell you why. We don't know our damn selves, but I cannot do gravy. Don't know why. Tried it. I don't think that dude's name was Drew. I'm trying to think. It wasn't Drew Peterson, I don't think, and I'm not. I don't think his name was Drew. Drew was the one that was the cop that killed like 2 or 3 wives. I have to look up what that other Peterson dude's name was. What the hell was his name? If Enlighten's into true crime, he might know that dude's name, that Peterson dude's name, without me having to look it up. Not. It wasn't. It wasn't Drew. It wasn't Drew and it wasn't Scott. I can't remember what that damn dude's name. It was Peterson though. He was a damn Peterson. What is it with the fucking Petersons and murdering women? They got some fucking problems. Oh, Susan Smith. Now she was that wasn't I'm in North Carolina. That was in I think Union, South Carolina. But yeah, that's close enough. Yeah, I knew all about that when that went down. I don't know anything much about it other than what everybody else knows about the Susan Smith though. I know she's incarcerated if I'm not mistaken in Columbia, South Carolina. You should have been here earlier, Enlightened, when I was telling about the Moxville doctor that killed his wife for his hoe named Gypsy. I told a couple of true crime North Carolina true crime stories earlier, and a dude I actually went to a junior high school with that actually killed six people. Enlightened. He killed a guy that was his own age in his 20s, I guess about mid 20s, and a family of 5, a mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, and 14-year-old girl. And when they had all just got home from the fair. You can look up about that dude. His name was Charles Roach, and his sidekick that went down for murder too. He got life, and Charles got the death penalty. He was on death row. He's already been executed. His name's Charles Roach, and his sidekick's name was Chris Lippard. Chris was on America's Most Wanted when he was on the run trying to find his ass. I'll look up what it was in a minute, friend. I can't think of his damn name either. It wasn't Scott Enlightened. He was a damn Peterson though. Yeah, did you look it up? That sounds right, Holly. Michael. That sounds right. I don't know if that's it for sure, but I think it is. That sounds right. Michael Peterson. Yeah, if any of y'all hadn't ever seen those documentaries about the stairway, that shit's really interesting. Really interesting. There's like the one I saw was like hours long, like 6 hours or days long or something in installments. It was really interesting. delving into that whole case about that motherfucker. He thought he was slick. He thought he was gonna shove two different women down the steps and be like, "Whoops, accident. Whoops, it happened again. Oh shit, lightning strikes twice." I guess that's what he thought everybody's gonna believe. It always blows my mind when people do the same damn crime and think, "Well, shit, I got away with that. I bet I can do that shit again." No, that won't look suspicious. Hell, yeah, Audra, that was Susan Smith, the one that drove her babies into, thinking that was like John D. Long Lake or something. I can't remember exactly the name of it. You know, we had a serial killer in South Carolina back in the day. They called him. That's interesting if you're into true crime to look him up. What is that damn dude's name? Pee Wee. Pee Wee Gaskins. He was a serial killer from South Carolina. Yeah, he was definitely guilty, Fran. He killed both of them. They even pulled up the first one as evidence. Exhumed the body from the first one to use as a. I think they used it. I can't remember if that counted against him in that second trial or not. But I mean, they looked at they exhumed her body over the whole thing. I can't remember if they were actually able to use it as evidence in the second trial or not. But he killed both of them for sure. And he could the cockamamie story he came up for the second one was just crazy as shit. Any of y'all heard of Pee Wee Gaskins? Like I said, he was the South Carolina. He was really crazy. You know, he even hired somebody hired him while he was incarcerated to kill somebody else, and he did it. Now, how many damn times does that happen? He had a weird sounding little voice too. He was talking about how that somebody hired him to kill another inmate when he was incarcerated. He was already a serial killer himself, was in prison for being a serial killer, and somebody hired him on the outside to kill another inmate for killing one of their family members or something. And he rigged up a radio or something and killed the guy, electrocuted him or something. And he had a funny little voice. And he when he said it, talked about it, he said, "And I blew him into hell." That's how he talked. Yeah, he had a weird voice, Fran. He had a really weird voice. He was like, "And I blew him into hell." Yeah, most of his daughters, I think like two of his daughters, and like I don't remember how many kids he had. I think he had like two daughters and two sons, and maybe three daughters and two sons. And if I remember correctly, like one or two of his daughters thought he was guilty. I mean, thought he was not guilty, and both of his sons thought he was not guilty. And I think there was one daughter that actually knew he was guilty. Yeah, Pee Wee Gaskins, the South Carolina serial killer, and like I said, he was a really short dude. That's why they called him Pee Wee. But he was damn aggressive. He was aggressive. Yeah, if you watch that story about him, they got his voice in there when he's talking about killing that other dude in prison. And I blew him into hell. He was a mean little motherfucker. I don't remember all the details, or I'd tell y'all about him. But it's been a while since I saw something about it, so I forgot a lot of it. But yeah, he was an evil little bastard. Being short didn't stop shit. Hold on a minute, y'all. I'm gonna text Lemonade and see where the hell she's at. Um, I can't remember that he might have. I remember somebody did that shit, Holly. I can't remember if it was Pee Wee or not, but somebody fed some people to some damn pigs. I can't remember if that was him or not, and it seemed like the pigs, they also fed whoever it was, it seemed like fed some bodies to their pigs and then slaughtered the pigs and fed the pigs to people. Now that's some fucked up shit to be doing. I don't know, friend. She said she was gonna get something to eat and something to drink or something like that, and she'd be back. That's what she said. What creator is that? I don't think I know who that is. That might have been him, friend. I'm not sure. Like I said, it's been so long since I heard about old Pee Wee. I can't remember all the details now. Who was interested in the Iceman? I don't know. Holly might could look into it, or y'all could Google it or something. I can't remember if that was Pee Wee that was did that shit or not. I remember something about what you're talking about though, friend, but I don't remember if it was Pee Wee or not. I remember somebody damn body having a pig farm or something though. I don't remember who it was. Hmm. All right, y'all. What do you want to talk about now? The Iceman, another subject. Somebody want to come up on panel? Yeah, I knew about. Yeah, that's right. I remember hearing about the situation with Happy Wife. I don't know all the details about that, but I do. It was her brother that did that. Murdered her whole family and tried to kill her, and she lived, right? Audra. Yeah, the Iceman, the Hitman. He was always interesting to me. How he was just didn't give a damn. He had no conscience. I mean, zero. Okay, one of y'all want to come up on panel? Come on. Somebody be brave enough. I've talked for over 2 hours by myself to the chat. Somebody want to come on up with me? Doctor, hello. Thank you, friend. Look forward to seeing you again, too. Good night. Okay, so what y'all want to do? Y'all want me to go ahead and close out? Or y'all want me to stay up for a little bit longer? Or does somebody want to come up with me? And there goes my phone ringing. Not showing on the hook caller ID who it is, though. Okay, Paula. Hope you get to feeling better. Okay, y'all. What you want me to do? You want to come up? Somebody come up? Or do you want me to stay up for a little bit? Or do you want me to go ahead and close down? Thank you, Paula. Y'all come back now and see us. You hear? I'll stay a little bit longer, but it seems like most people are dwindling off. Lemonade said she was going to come back, but I don't know if she went to bed or she's still coming back or what. That was about, let's see, let's see, about 40 minutes ago or something. And I know I'll keep asking you 100 times, but I've asked so many people, different people, where they're located. You said you're in California, right, Audra? Man, it's like there's a serious delay on this chat. Weird. All right, the chat is winding down, so I'll probably give it just a couple more minutes, and I think I'll go ahead and close out. Yeah, I thought you said California. You can get mixed up sometimes that who is to where when you're reading through a chat. Try to keep every state with every person. I think I remembered for the most part, though. Okay, Audra and anybody else that's left in chat and any watchers, lurkers, I'm going to be closing down. And thanks y'all for a wonderful first live. And I will be seeing y'all again soon. And good night, good morning, good day. Talk to you later. Bye, Audra. Bye, anybody that's left in chat. And bye, anybody that's lurking. See you when I see you. Bye, Sugar Plum. Thank you. And I'll see you again soon. And I'll hit you up when I get a chance on Discord. Take care.